Hello, Smite Draft League. Welcome back. Godlike Division, Week 5 here. Kingslayers versus Wild Inferno. Big one coming up. I'm Deelo, joined here by KingFsher. Fishman, how we feeling?
Feeling really excited. Love seeing a Godlike Division game. Haven't cast too many of these this season, but always excited to see what our upper echelon of players have to offer, especially right off the back of a little bit of a bonus patch. And I always look to the upper league, always look to Godlike. These players know what they're doing. They know what's good, they know what's bad, so they're going to be the ones that are really exploiting kind of the little niche areas of this new patch.
Well, speaking of exploiting, some things that few too many players on casuals were exploiting now off the map entirely. No longer going to be seeing that Baba, no longer going to be seeing the Marty. Good news for the picks and bans. What do we think as far as implications that has for this game one?
Biggest thing is just going to be how it affects the picks and bans. Obviously, those two were kind of the must bans, and Bob Inferno didn't quite get the memo, so they're going to go ahead and ban out Baba Yaga anyway. I mean, I guess better safe than sorry. But yeah, these picks obviously off the table. Martika is a big one, kind of always, along with the Ravana, I think. Top pick, top ban. Team 2 bans them, if not, Team 1 picks them, so that obviously might change the strategy a little bit, and we're going to see Ravana go. That was the one I was about to mention. Probably going to see them slide into Marty's spot, but now that they're off the table, kind of a little bit of toss-up what it could be. I mean, I know Kaizo likes that Athena, a support that's been really rising through the ranks. There's always something like a Thor, a Sun Wukong, really a lot of different directions that Wild Inferno could go here with their first pick.
I'm really appreciating that Kingslayers, the splash art of the gods they're banning, match the color of their logo. That's just some nice thematic consistency that really pleases my eye. Hopefully, though, their gameplay will also be bringing some heat, not just the aesthetic value. Ganesha going to be Wild Inferno's final ban.
Little bit of a curious one. I mean, I think Kaizo pretty popular for playing that Athena, but the Elephant certainly still a great support. You don't want to go into that, maybe Wild Inferno, expecting that Kingslayers are going to pick that up and go in another direction first off.
Now
Thor's still
is
on
the
the board. That's
time.
not going to be the pick, though. They're going to go ahead and take Nike for Regenceyy. Another warrior pick that's been kind of climbing the leaderboards. Don't know if it's really top pick worthy, but it's a very good warrior, very good solo laner.
It's consistent. It's good. It gives you CC, gives you peel, it gives you damage. It's reliable. It's a bit boring, but it's a good pick for Wild Inferno. I respect it. Solo lane priority has certainly been something we've been seeing across these past few patches, and Kingslayer is going to keep their cards a bit closer to their chest, Thor being locked in.
The pick I thought we were going to see on the other side. Instead, it's a Chaos team that locks him in. And one thing we should probably mention before we go a little bit further, both these teams are playing with a substitute. Azteck on the side of Kingslayers, and of course, ThockManJones we're all familiar with. For mid, not ADC for Wild Inferno. So getting those two something they're going to be comfortable on, obviously, both from the Immortal division, so playing up a little bit here, certainly going to be capable, but definitely worth keeping your eye on those two lanes.
An Aztec being a member of Immortal Wild Inferno must go up against his patron saints, his own franchise, and you have to imagine that must be just absolutely tearing at his heart. But with some nice carry lock-ins on each side, we're going basic for basic here. Rom for Ishtar.
I like the Rama pick a lot. Ishtar, kind of one of the ADCs you think about, like, you know, they're one of the best. They're always going to be one of the best.
Wisdom
They have
shall be
CC,
my
CC
shield.
immunity, can hit the whole wave. Now it's going to be Wild Inferno taking that Athena away. Just like the Thor, not the team I thought we'd see it on, but Digit's a very, very good support. Surprised to not see them go towards the Terra, which is a pick they really like. Terra always good in the meta, but Athena, global rotation, along with Rama, has a self-banish, able to keep themselves safe. And Athena, a very, very aggressive support that's definitely gonna kind of play into their favor. Now their ADC is able to keep themselves safe while they go off, they get that taunt, they get whatever they need to done on the front lines.
I mean, a bit more flash and bang now on the opposing side. Gonna pick up an Achilles. Have to imagine it's likely going to the solo lane there for the Kingslayers. And that kind of does then spell that this Thor will indeed also be in the jungle.
I like Thor in both lanes, a solo and the jungle. I think can really dominate in both very well. But Achilles, solo all day for me. We've seen jungle Achilles before here. I think specifically last season in Godlike with Tagveer, now terrorizing some of the Smite queues, but very, very strong pick there. But yeah, probably going to be a solo laner. Aztec does kind of like those traditional warriors, does very well with them too. So into Nike, going to be excited to see what they can do. There's going to be a whole slew of mid bans. Agni, Tiamat, Merlin, all things I'm used to seeing, but the Raw, a pick that we've really only seen these past few weeks.
It's always, I mean, you know what I will say?
Crushing
It's a
sands!
very big ability to come off the back of an Athena taunt. You want to make sure you're denying them that very easy flow chart of taunt to big damage. Kingslayers, though, going to pick up, again, thematic consistency, picking up their own mascot set. You love to see it.
And you know what that means, unless I'm incorrect, which I still could be, because I think a lot of these picks can move around and be successful pretty well. For me, that's going to be a set mid all day. EmoticonFather, like some of those kind of unorthodox picks, you already have VSR, which can play mid, but you don't want to move out of there. Set going to be able to stick to something like that Yu Huang very easily. Of course, has a self-banish, has a dragon push away. Set with a really nice teleport, good movement speed, going to be able, and a lot of slows as well. So ThockManJones might have a little bit of trouble if that is the assassin in the mid lane. Try not to speculate too much though, always could be wrong. But in the Wheelix hover, not too many leaps on the side of Kingslayers outside of that Ishtar, but already always a very, very good jungler.
This is one
Ooh,
tale
not gonna
that you
happen.
don't want to
So
chase,
Watson's something a
darling.
bit different. Gonna be the Sir Het to round out Wild Inferno's comp. And something that I just noticed, Kingslayers, yes, they have some unconventionality, but you know what they also have? 4 physicals. What are your thoughts on that, Fisher?
I don't like it very much, especially when it's 4 physicals. They haven't picked their support yet, so you know whoever they pick for their magic damage here isn't going to be doing a ton of damage. It's a little bit different when you have something like, okay, well now I officially don't know what's going on.
Okay, wait,
But-
what?
I mean, off the top of my head, let's see if I can get this right here.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be Ishtar ADC,
Sure.
Set mid,
Okay.
Achilles support, Susano jungle, Thor solo. We could see something crazy here. But yeah, 5 physical. It's not like 5 magical, where if you build magical defense, you still got to get physical defense for the towers, for the objectives. I mean, Wild Inferno basically going to be able to build entirely physical, maybe with a Gauntlet of Thieves or something, and they're going to be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Kingslayers with a very, very unorthodox draft, but I'm really excited to see how they kind of string that one together.
Sometimes unconventionality and surprise can win the day, but not a moment too soon. We're just gonna have to wait to see as we get right into game 1. Hello everyone and welcome back, Smite Draft League, Godlike Division, Week 5, Wild Inferno versus Kingslayers. Kingslayers, in a tribute to the late Olivia Newton-John, gonna say, let's get physical. 5 on their comp, and Fisher just talking about what that's going to mean in terms of game plan and strategy. Talk me through that.
I mean, first off, very, very close to predicting it right. It's going to be a Thor support instead of the Achilles. I'm going to be really interested to see what that does. I've seen Achilles support once or twice, seen it work out okay. Have not seen a Thor support, but you know, very good stun, semi-global ult, going to be able to get all over the map, and has that tower, or the hammer teleport, so going to be able to get themselves out of a little bit of damage. Kaizo certainly going to have their work cut out for them. Going to Lona's Mask especially, saw a little bit of a buff in this latest patch at kind of the defense from items you need on a little bit of a decrease, so not going to have to build quite as defense heavy. But back to the original question, I mean, it's going to be aggression. All-out aggression from the Kingslayers. They have 3 assassins. If they're not W King out of their minds before 10 minutes, I don't know if they're playing the comp correctly.
And that is what it is. It's a timer that they're up against here. Before the grouping phase happens, before those sovereignties are online, and before the flaws of your comp begin to show, we need to see Kingslayers moving at full force here. Who should their aggressions be primarily targeted for to ensure they get an early lead and keep it that way?
One of the things that would definitely stick out in my mind is the tanks. Obviously, whenever they start to get towards full build, when they get more defense items online, like you said, gonna see the sovereignties, it's gonna be a very early Glad Shield over there from the Nike. But once those picks get tanky, there is not a lot the Kingslayers can do to really slow them down outside of building a lot of pen and really kind of sticking together on one target at a time. Might not get that chance, so Serket ranging into left here might be looking for an early gank.
Indeed, gonna forego the shield buff. Already has the dash expended on MattGuy. That's the call to engage. A great wall! Blocks off too, but the leap to expend. DummySlicc gonna try to taunt him back in. Fantastic Cobra's Kiss. Ditch is gonna give the final blow there. Not quite who you might have wanted the kill on, but it's a kill nonetheless for Wild Inferno.
Great first blood there from Wild Inferno, and a really good wall by Kaizo. Nearly separated that fight for the Kingslayers. but no beads means no life. Circat able to get that CC off and do a very nice job shutting down that kill. Now, Wild Inferno, it's 1 kill up, luckily for Kingslayers. Not going to be the biggest lead in the world. You always hate losing first blood, especially on a very execution-heavy comp like this. But they got time, and you already know the further this game goes, or even once we see those ults come online, it's going to be Gank City from the Kingslayers, but Kaizo going in aggressive on the camsy.
I mean, you're just not going to have the damage, though, quite yet without, I feel like, those big rig ultimates online. And who's lurking around the corner? It's DummySlicc once again. Might be trying to find a second kill here in the dual lane, but a good wall once again, but the taunt to match. Mjolnir's attunement is going to get them back to safety. Kingslayers, like you said, they need to be W keying. I appreciate the aggression, but I'm already just worried about the fact that they already have things a bit against them. There's going to be a purple buff invade now, and this is going to grant more pressure here for the dual lane.
Dual lane is behind by Kingslayers, and Digits over here, DummySlicc over here again. The Circat might be looking for another. Thor dropping low. Kaizo needs to get out of trouble quick.
Already used the Mjolnir's attunement. It's just going to be an easy pickup there for camsy. They're trying to execute on it. I respect it. They're trying to do exactly what their comp's been made for, but it is nonetheless a comp with a glaring flaw in the sense that unconventionality, though it sometimes can win you the day, it can also sometimes be surprise for surprise's sake. I'm hoping that Kingslayers are not going to let this defeat their spirits and get a bad attitude about it. They need to come at this with a fresh aspect, a fresh perspective, and once those level 5s hit, start bringing down the damage.
And this is a comp where when you pick it, you know going in, okay, we either gotta pop off or we might get in a little bit of trouble, and they're still looking for their opening. We're here in duo. Digits dropping a little bit low, and a good wall stuns too. Camsy able to get away for the time being. Ishar a little bit too far back to chase.
It's again, Kaizo's been really good with these Thor, wall, and then double tap combinations, but at this point, it's just not doing enough damage. You're not seeing them build aggressively. You've got a cloak being built out, must imagine that's probably a prophetic or something among those lines, but you're not going to be providing the damage that a jungle or even a solo Thor would be. In that case, then, who is going to be the prime enabler of your engage, but also your kills?
Gonna be a little bit tough, but I'm especially drawn to the jungle mid there from Kingslayers. Obviously, Thor can go in all day, find anvil, duns, find stuns, find damage, but Susano and Set, two very, very all-in. Normally junglers will just have to say assassins for this game, but they go in, they're not really planning to get out. They want to get kills, and they want to really come through for their team. And EmoticonFather and CritOfTime especially, two very aggressive players. I want to see them diving in tandem, because those two ultimates together are going to be very, very difficult to shut down. We already identified Athena, very aggressive support, not real peel heavy, gonna have their work cut out for them. There's now Windsiphon gonna stop the back. Digitso just retreats to the Circuit. No real problems just yet for Wild Inferno.
I mean, the problem that Kingslayers had to look at, though, charts just showed it. It's 5 minutes in. It's a very small gold lead, but it's a lead that you don't want to be seeing on Wild Inferno. Nonetheless, 2 kills up here and about 400 or so to their name. Can be using the defenders of Olympus. DummySlicc as well as Digits might be looking for a cheeky gank as MattGuy jumps around in tier 1.
MattGuy, though, does have the ultimate. Blades of Retribution has the beads as well. Now, thanks to Anvil Dawn, Nosers 3 there might not get aggressive. Kaizo wants to go in. EmoticonFather's here.
Is indeed Rama is once again the target, but a good target switch onto DummySlicc and to try to put on the damage. Has a decent amount, has to use the last breath for a bit of safety and respite, and now the tides have been turned. Takes to the skies, the snipes are online, but can you find the final bits of damage? Switches to Kaizo as the primary directive, and ThockManJones cleans up the kill on the back end. Kingslayers had the right idea. That's not the right idea. Jumping back into CritOfTime's path. Going to be wind siphoned away, and that's going to be the siphon necessary to take away the jungle.
Kingslayers with a good early engage, but they're not out of this one yet. CritOfTime with a big taunt. Now the jungler might be in trouble.
He's going to be stunned down, brought down from the rotation here from the solo laner. Achilles didn't quite get the memo, or maybe Azteck just didn't want to go up against his franchise fellows. They're just going to be stunned out here by Kaizo, but at this point the damage is done. Kingslayers put themselves on the board, but at the expense of one more kill.
And if that was only a 1-for-1 at first, I definitely wouldn't have hated that engage at all. If it's a 1-for-1, it's not really a bad trade, especially when, like we identified, going right into that fight, at a little bit of a disadvantage. Trading your support for a jungler, always a good trade if you're in that position, but losing your jungler again on the back end just puts them right back where they began, a little bit further down, as now Wild Inferno have a pretty good lead. And over here in the solo lane, an interesting item that's becoming a little bit more popular, Frostbound Hammer on the side of Azteck. Really would expect that Achilles go for breastplate, but I guess the damage trumps it, able to get the execute onto Regenceyy, and a great solo kill from the Kingslayers.
And they're posing for a little bit more. ThockMan could be in trouble, does have the self-banish, and is considering landing aggressively. With Susano around the corner, though, not sure if that's what you want to be doing. Digits joins the battle. Good taunt there, as well as the last breath. Dueling Dragons pushes all three members off their back, but EmoticonFather will not be denied this kill. DummySlicc goes down once again.
A little bit of a slow start from the Kingslayers, but starting to string it together. They've got a few kills late now, and still not to that time where Wild Inferno's tanks are really going to be, I'd say, near impossible to kill. Guys are just stalling digits, and the two members still here. They might look for a kill onto the Athena.
Has the dash to escape, at least for the Typhoon, not going to knock him up. And now Kingslayers maybe caught their pants down, trying to farm a bit too much. Kaizo could be in trouble. Uses Mjolnir's attunement as a bit of a distraction. ThockManJones going to say, I'm just going to cultivate my Dow, cultivate another kill, why don't you? Scoreboard now reads 5-3 for Wild Inferno.
And a good move by Kaizo, trying to bail out the mid laner there from death. Even if that Thor teleported away, went into Anvil Dawn, might have been too low HP to continue. And now Gold Fury started up by Wild Inferno. MattGuy knows what's happening though, and CritOfTime's arrived. And
Digits is low. Blades of Retribution as well as the Rolling Thunder do decent damage. CritOfTime picks up DummySlicc as an afterthought more so. Digits seem to be their primary target. And now looking on next, camsy could be in a bit of trouble here. Self-banish from ThockManJones grants him a bit of safety. Kaizo, with the Anvil of Dawn, not going to quite find the target he was looking for. Lurking around the corner, Digits got to be careful. There's the double tap you wanted. Support on support violence, and that's crazy to say when that support is a Thor, but nonetheless, another kill evens it up 5-5.
Good kill from the Thor, and just a great fight back there from the Kingslayers. I don't hate the engaged attempt by Wild Inferno. I mean, early Gold Fury is kind of hard to detect unless you have wards in the area. Almost could have snuck right by the Kingslayers, but you got to be careful against this comp. Didn't have Typhoon up, which is, I think, the really big steal here for Kingslayers that just absolutely wreaks havoc on objectives. But a triple stun from the HR and the rest of the team following up. Already said many times the aggression of this team and how it favors them. And you see right there, nearly lose an objective, but get a kill, get an objective on the back end. And just like that, they're going to take the lead, roaring over Wild Inferno. Now they're going to be in a spot where they need to be really careful in these next few minutes to not let it spiral.
Yeah, 10 minutes in, you're a bit of a scary spot here. Kingslayers have now taken not the most sizable gold lead, but 1,000 nonetheless is nothing to slouch at, especially with, like you said, a comp that is liable to make a mountain out of a molehill. You cannot let their unabated aggression continue to put you in a bad spot here, and hopefully Wild Inferno has the answer for that. But the question is, when you have ganks coming in from CritOfTime like this, what is that answer? Might have to be that self-banish for camsy. Also is going to be the ultimate from the Athena. Typhoon expended, just gonna catch a little bit of an updraft there on the way up for Ram, and now DummySlicc's on the aggression, gonna be putting the last breath on his head, push him back to the arms of Digits. Has to use the beads as well, but the poison not gonna quite tick the end of his life. Good taunt there, seemed a bit delayed, but another great wall here from Kaizo, going to deny them the aggression on a crit, and now it's this time Wild Inferno's chance to retreat. Not gonna be granted though. EmoticonFather picks up the Circuit once again. ThockMan's ascended and descended into the fight, and EmoticonFather descends to the fountain. A big stun there onto Kaizo, could be in trouble from the Phoenix Flames. Azteck rotates on in and eats a nice tower shot. Wild Inferno on the aggression, trying to find any more kills they can. Kaizo's lurking in the back, but what for? A big Blaze of Retribution can do solid damage to Digits, who will fall at MattGuy's hands. ThockMan ascends to the sky once again. CritOfTime goes down to Regenceyy, but Kaizo's rejoined the fight. But I don't know if he's got the gumption, the mana, or the health to do much about it. ThockMan on the killing spree picks up the support.
And a good start to the engage by Kingslayers. Might have stuck around a little bit long, though. They lose a few members on the back end. Maybe could have saved their lives if they tried to head out earlier. But a good engage. They do get a few kills. And what a great ultimate by that Rama up into that Astral Barrage early. And only one real ward in their own jungle there for the left-hand side. Or no, rather, that's on the enemy team. So just pure reaction time. A really nice job by camsy. Now we see Wild Inferno heading towards this beacon. DummySlicc might be dead before it comes up, though.
Serket's really just had so much abuse thrown on her head top. EmoticonFather, though, taking his own damage as well. Camsy takes a bit too much. MattGuy gonna take out the opposing carry. Digits is falling pretty low now. That Athena's not looking tanky. Should have gotten your sovereignty a bit earlier, my friend. Gonna have to retreat, and now with the beacon available, Kingslayers will indeed oblige, grab themselves that first one for free.
Good job by the Kingslayers pushing them off, taking that for command. And now, one thing that we've discussed a little bit already, the beacon on a little bit of a shorter cooldown now, 5 minutes instead of 6. So we can see those Titans head out of base as early as 23 minutes into this game. And with that comp for Kingslayers, gotta imagine they want to get on those beacons fast, use those Titans as maybe a little bit of extra insurance on these pushes. Because while Inferno, the later this game goes, are going to be ready for it. Kaizo getting aggressive, already been all over the map this game, having a huge impact, but doesn't quite have the damage with that Lono's mask. We get ThockManJones, who's now building into a Breastplate of Valor. I think really smart move from the Yuhuang. About the only defense item I really like seeing on damage dealers, and should find a ton of value into this team comp.
It's gonna be cooldown, defense, mana to your name, and you cannot complain about that when every member of Kingslayers is gonna have to chew through that armor. So, in the case of Kingslayers now, we've seen a bit more of a showing, a bit more of a sampler of their aggression, of their game plan. What is Wild Inferno's means of who they need to shut down first to ensure that they have the upper hand for these fights?
I'd say the big one, given how it's been, is just Kaizo, and they're going to try to find a taunt onto them. Not too much damage to follow, but the Thor's been everywhere. Been landing CC like crazy, always there when teammates need him. As good as all Kingslayer's doing, the Thor is a big reason why they're still even in this one. But now, both supports ranging on the left side of the map. As Susanna goes away, Serket's got an easy gank.
And Thor's got an easy taunt into the tower. Might need to be careful. They've just talked about your value here as a C2. MattGuy under some pressure as well. Gonna eat the ultimate from Serket. DummySlicc gonna just sit underneath tier 1, consider his options before leaping back. But CritOfTime making the rotation. Gonna opt for more safe pathing as we have the rotation as well from Digits, courtesy of the Athena ultimate. Now at about 15 minutes, almost, we have 8-8 reading the scoreboard, but still Kingslayers maintaining a small lead. With this snowball-oriented comp, we have some objectives up on this right side. Pyro, of course, Fire Giant going to be lurking there for a bit longer. Does your snowball-oriented comp want to look at those objectives, force fights around that, or do we stick to jungle scraps?
I'd say given the all-physical comp, absolutely. You're going to burn through those objectives much quicker early in this game than you kind of would with magical characters. Might just be looking for the scraps, so ThockManJones up into the sky, trying to escape Kaizo. EmoticonFather not going to be able to really chase down.
Only scraps they have are scraps of damage, but camsy going to be doing big-time numbers to CritOfTime. Kaizo a bit off the mark on the ROM, but taunted back in before the Mjolnir's attunement teleport could be granted. A big wall, though. These have been so clutch. He's separated from the rest of his team, though. Camsy going to be able to cripple him with the rolling assault arrow. Kaizo has to wait another 13 seconds or something to get out, but he's not going to be obliged. Takes an easy way back to the fountain, courtesy of Camsy. Meanwhile, we had some aggression he put on by Regenceyy. Has to use the Sentinel of Zeus, but the distraction is worth it because their support will still fall. And now they can look for this Oni Fury, but EmoticonFather as well as MattGuy are lurking. You have Achilles around the corner as well. Could be troublesome. Just decides to opt for the aggression. Blinks on in. Finds the kill onto Digits. And with the Kingslayer here himself, going to be putting on some more damage. DummySlicc goes down. Big Dueling Dragon is to put down the set. And with their mascot gone, is their spirit still there? Going to be continuing to poke Regenceyy in the back. Azteck wants to continue this push, but it might not be the wisest choice. Kingslayers with the 1-for-2 trade going to opt to retreat back.
And a good pushback by the Kingslayers. Wild Inferno, my good positioning, and for the second fight in the row, great reaction by Rama, really just shutting down anything before it can even begin with a great crippling arrow. But Kingslayers, once again, just come out on top. I mean, the comp is aggressive, they're looking for kills, and they might look for another ThockManJones retreating deep into that tier 1 tower to stay away. Gold difference now stalled out a little bit. Kingslayers need to start getting some more farm, maybe look for some of these objectives. I mean, I think both of us love seeing those early objective calls, love seeing that Gold Fury pull 8.5 minutes in. That's more of the stuff we need to see here for Kingslayers. If they're gonna get and sustain this lead, they can do it by getting kills with this team comp incredibly easily and stay ahead. But Wild Inferno are a good team. They're not just gonna let them walk all over, do what they want. Still now battling in mid, waiting for that next beacon to spawn, still about a minute out.
like you said, objectives are really going to cement your place on top. At this point, we're fighting over pennies. It's scraps. We need to see some bigger prizes. We need to see the whole turkey. Guys are going to try to grab it in the form of this Yulong, but again, with the Mjolnir's attunement expended, can they take him off before he takes off? No, not quite. Thor is going to be able to enter the sky and re-enter the mid lane. I love the aggression I'm seeing from Kaizo, but you gotta wonder if it's just a bit too much at times as well, because it's a big ultimate down for a decent amount of time.
When the team's been near, it's been good, but we've seen a few of these ults just kind of to drive out utility from Wild Inferno, maybe force them back. Gonna step onto the Stygian Beacon here. Kingslayers might be looking to contest. EmoticonFather is here, so is CritOfTime, but that might be too late. Stygian Beacon goes aside of Wild Inferno, and as both teams disengage, I love seeing all the variety builds coming out here. The Berserker Shield from the Rama just got a nice buff, gonna be feeling good with that, and the just full mana build from that Yu Huang. Really excited to see late game just how much damage that's able to deal.
Yeah, and again, with that protections in tow, going to be really useful. Seems we're going for an objective war here, but Regenceyy not intent on letting this Oni Fury go down just with no fight. Typhoon expended as well as the Defender of Olympus. Digit's going to fall, though. Can't defend much if you're dead. Having to leap back out. DummySlicc underneath quite a bit of pressure, running into Regenceyy, bonking their heads together. EmoticonFather gonna put him out of his misery. Teleports over to Regenceyy, not letting this one go without a fight. Trying to block him out, retreating back to the tier 2. Wild Inferno will indeed become a bit more safe for that, but they got the Pyro. They needed maybe just disengage a bit further though, my friend. Dueling Dragons pushes back CritOfTime, grants you a bit more space. It's a worrisome prospect though. Kingslayers do manage to grab themselves the Fury, grab themselves a kill on the back end.
Kingslayers with a very good engagement, and before the praise goes too far, the backline from Wild Inferno, we just saw ThockManJones use a Dueling Dragons to get out Drubble, have been doing an incredible job staying alive. 12 kills, they've died once, and they have 7 of their 11 kills on their side. Wild Inferno backline really keeping them in this game. Kaizo has to disengage. Regenceyy still does a lot of damage, still pretty scary to go up against an Athena like that. Yeah, Wild Inferno, I mean, they're behind, but this is about the point where we're gonna see those full builds come online, we're gonna see these teams start grouping, and for me, it's a little bit worrisome on the side of Kingslayers. Most of these objectives have started with really just 1 good kill and kind of snowballing after. We've yet to really see a true 5-on-5. I think that's where some of the weaknesses of this comp could come through, but to their credit, they're playing it pretty near perfect right now. Maybe a little bit high in the death count, but certainly keeping the pressure up.
And that's what you want to do. We said it from minute 1. If you're going to be playing this, you got to be W King, and they've been obliging, certainly. We've returned to a bit of a little bit faux laning phase here as things start to settle just a little bit more, which grants me the opportunity without all the scrapping to talk about this solo lane matchup. Nike versus the Achilles. I think Azteck had some tech cooking up there. What does that matchup and just the God versus God look at? What do we have there?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is definitely the Achilles execute. Obviously, Sentinel Zeus just gives you a shield, doesn't really give any extra health. Now Kaizo trying to find some damage onto ThockManJones, who has to leave the tier 1 tower really quick. The EmoticonFather chasing them down, gonna get driven out by the Circuit. DummySlicc now looking to disengage. Both teams just having some fun in mid. But yeah, obviously the execute into the shield is really the big one you think of. But both gods have really nice CC, have some kind of slept on damage. It's gonna be not a boring lane, but a very, very evenly matched one. But Regenceyy, through this game, only died once, doing a great job not allowing themselves to get that low to really be in trouble. And I love that pickup there from Kaizo with the Runeforged Hammer. Something we gotta talk about. I mean, does extra damage, gonna be built into a glyph when you CC people, and we've already seen this Thor be massive with those. Now EmoticonFather diving onto the Yu Huang looking for the kill.
Does not have the ability to ascend to the heavens. Might be going there the easy way, courtesy of Kaizo. Lands on him, finds the kill, as well as EmoticonFather with the assist. Fantastic work. Just drop in, retreat out. Kingslayers have got what they want. They might want more, though. Kaizo's hungry, sees red, despite that being his own team's color. They're just going to have to retreat back after some decent poke from them. You have the solve, but your team's not looking any tankier for it. Needs to be careful. As 4 members strong, they lurk for this tier 2 tower. Gonna decide, though, to just disengage. Like I said, they got what they wanted. Another kill for the board. The score reads 13-11.
Good job again from the Kingslayers and getting ThockManJones down as well. Kind of been one of the main thorns in their side. Top of the player damage charts in the entire game. Obviously, Nike very close behind. but now might open something up a little bit. Fury respawns in 15 seconds, Pyro around the same time, but now the Yu Huang is alive, going to be able to show up to contest those dueling dragons. I think just like Typhoon, a very, very good tool for stealing, for putting people out of position. The Yu Huang needs to be by these fights if you're on the side of Wild Inferno. Stygian Beacon opening soon as well means Titans about a minute and a half out from marching down the lanes. We've seen already both these teams taking the Beacon seconds after spawning, and already the fight's starting to break out.
We have Regenceyy here, whereas Azteck's a bit MIA for this potential objective engagement, gonna back after grabbing his own buff, and you might imagine he's gonna join the scuffle over here around the mid lane. Seems that no one's quite confident in their ability to look at that Fury until the Beacon is first won for either side. Kaizo gonna take the first step onto there, and you see Aztecs lurking in the back as well, but outnumbered at the moment, needs to be a bit careful. The Nike Shield is gonna be such a great tool for space control, but ThockMan needs a bit more space as well. Takes to the sky, and that's gonna be on cooldown for quite some time. Breastplate of Valor gonna be putting in some heavy lifting right there. Azteck on the front line is going to do great zoning duty, and that's going to ensure Kingslayers grab this Beacon and less Wild Inferno pull some real hijinks here. But no, they're going to play it clean, play it straight. Kingslayers grab that third Beacon.
Titans marching down the right sides of the lane in a minute, but we're still here on the left side of the map. Kingslayers still grouped up as 5 strong, looking at the Primal Fury. Both teams are ready. Ooh, Wall barely misses digits. Could have been a very big engage tool there from the Kingslayers. Zocat lurking close by as well. Wonder how long these teams are gonna kind of dance around here until one makes a definitive move. But so far, only the Primal Fury being looked at.
Kingslayers are going to be doing what you asked, Fisher. They're on the driver's seat. They're going to put their hand on the wheel. Regenceyy is going to put the damage on the back line. Meanwhile, Azteck doing the same thing. Has to use the Fatal Strike, though, to escape for safety. Regenceyy is in a bit of trouble, knocked up by the Typhoon, but the snipes are decent. DummySlicc, though, can't say the same for his health bar. EmoticonFather takes that one out. Dueling Dragons pushes 2 Kingslayers off, but they want blood. They're going to go back into the fray. ThockMan's ascended to the sky, but not for long. He's back down to the ground. MattGuy finds Regenceyy on the back end. EmoticonFather, the team mascot, going to be bringing it down on a camsy, but the basics are a bit too much to handle. Don't want to risk losing any more members. 3 down for Wild Inferno. Kingslayers have beaten the clock.
They have indeed, and this is about the time where I kind of expected this team comp to maybe start falling a little bit short for Wild Inferno to start finding answers. No such luck yet, though. Kingslayers still on top. All 3 of their assassins low-ish in health with yellow bars, but I mean, in a 2v5, doesn't matter what the health, they still come out on top of that. Wild Inferno not going to be able to engage quite yet, as Pyromancer going to go the way of the Kingslayers now with a very commendable lead. And the next thing up on the map, the Titans fighting it out in the right lane. But once again, it's kind of been the theme of the season, not really being looked at by either team. A few members of Kingslayers there going to manage to find the Order one, but may not have enough health to push up with it. And indeed, they're going to back to base.
Kingslayers have just shown objective domination. They had a bit of a slow start. They had some speed bumps, but now they have their foot firmly on the gas pedal, grab themselves Fury, Beacon, Pyro, drive off the Titan with the quickness, and you know Kaizo's not going to let camsy pluck away at that bowstring for free. Gotta be careful though here. There's still 3 members versus the 1. You don't want to see that Anvil of Dawn be used defensively once again. ThockMan going to drive them away, and the Titan will shortly follow.
Kingslayers do get what they came for, though. Wild Inferno now all grouped up on the right side, and they've taken very aggressive positions, and they don't know. Zocat's still in base. They have a momentary advantage. We'll see if they use it. Not too many wards, though, or at least not enough to know yet. Still just standing aggressively on that Fire Giant. They might make Wild Inferno go to them, and historically, has not worked out great for Wild Inferno.
They need to have a different answer to the call this time, and Regenceyy might be it, but it seems that Wild Inferno a bit slow to the punch here, or maybe just waiting for the health bar to drop just a bit more. About a quarter down now for the Fire Giant, but DummySlicc's arrived at the scene. Not the tankiest member, though. Might not be the first Vanguard you want to see on the scene. Fire Giant now down to half health. ThockMan is in a bit of trouble. Has to ascend to the skies. Azteck's following, and the Anvil of Dawn, the Fire Giant's been let go of because they're looking to let go of ThockMan from this mortal coil. Dueling Dragons once again. Amazing self-peel. CritOfTime, though. Jetstream Blink to try to catch up. Finds the kill on the mid laner. Killing spree there for CritOfTime. And now it's just a wipe potentially for Kingslayers. They see the potential victory of game 1 on this conventional comp. Gonna be putting some decent damage onto Regenceyy, as well as DummySlicc has to escape thanks to the ambush. Another one member down there for Wild Inferno. Kingslayers looking to potentially just go right back at this Fire Giant and start it all over again.
It's going to be the smart call because Wild Inferno going to have to step up again. And if they do, you know what Kingslayers are going to do? Press W. Just get the kills. Fire Giant might not matter. 5 alive going into 4. Now it's not like last time. Now they know they're going to have the man up. But a little bit staggered here. Kingslayers still have 2 members getting out of base. And with ThockManJones back up in 10. Very short kill cooldown there. Could lose their advantage before they're really able to build anything out of it. And I'm almost sad of how aggressive this team comp is, because there's so many cool things to talk about. I mean, the Ishar building into crit, gonna force some Spectral Armors from Wild Inferno.
Yeah.
On Wild Inferno, we see a Silver Branch, Berserker Shield Rama, which is one of the most fun builds I could ever imagine. I mean, 38 stacks off of one pop of the 2 has to feel good, but now that all might not matter if Kingslayers are just able to sustain this lead, and over they march again to that right side of the map. Might be looking for kills though. Fire Giant, momentarily forgotten.
No members to really try to ambush out. You see them waiting cheekily around this corner. I love the wily play here. We've seen that these past couple fights just not going Wild Inferno's way, despite our expectations when it came to that timer. Regenceyy, you better be careful, man. There's 3 members lurking here, but gonna opt for aggression here. Digits, the front line is going full ham, but you don't have your damage dealers to back you up quite yet. You might be in trouble. Digits gonna be putting the numbers on for CritOfTime. Regenceyy drops as well. DummySlicc on the back end does grab the kill on the jungler, but is fallen himself by EmoticonFather, the mascot doing work. ThockManJones has to survey the battlefield for a moment longer before he too falls in combat. It's a 4-for-1 for the Kingslayers.
Kingslayers find yet another great fight. Who needs a Fire Giant? You just need kills. Finally gonna back up towards a big objective. If that fight happened a minute later, they'd be looking at an enhanced FG, and quite honestly, maybe the end of the game. Azteck, though, gonna try to keep camsy out. Rama does damage, has a very nice build online. Not gonna be able to do enough, though. Fire Giant follows Rama now, gonna have to run away in the mid lane before they just get restless and decide to all in. But they're gonna settle for a Runic Bomb, might look to reset, but no, just marching straight over to the Primal Fury, maybe? Yeah, gonna be the Primal Kingslayers. We talked about it early, needing to see them get kills, get objectives, keep that lead going. They're doing both of those, are doing it well, 21-12. Now taking their fourth Fury of the game here, doing it nearly textbook.
It's exactly what we wanted to see. And it's so much later than we expected to see it. But Kingslayers are managing to make this comp look like an absolute clinic. Fair play to them. They're like the new patch buff all physicals or something. They're doing a great job. Now, with Wild Inferno, you have to imagine from a defensive perspective. That's where we're going to be seeing them for the next good amount of time as this Fire Giant buff persists. How do we feel about just in general their comp and what it looks like on the defensive end? Because Kingslayers now no longer have the option of making Wild Inferno come to them. They've got to go right into the heart of the beast.
We talked about it early game, how some of these picks for Kingslayers are kind of an all-in, like you really press W and you hope to get kills because it's going to be difficult to go out. Wild Inferno could definitely punish that, but right now Azteck caught in the middle of 4. Digits going to look for a big taunt. Or no, not going to land yet.
This is some big punishment, though. Has the Blade's Retribution, finds a good stun on 2 to grant Azteck a bit of safety. And now camsy's on the back end, separated by some unfortunate pathing, has to use the beads. Digits just being whittled down slowly, is now in the Fatal Strike range, but manages to evade it. Kaizo, though, gonna be in the back line. Can you evade the Thor? Gonna have to do so with the Celestial Ascent. Regencey's gonna find 1 kill. CritOfTime goes down to camsy. They're diving the Phoenix, and the tier 2's still up. Crazy. They're gonna find the kill, though, on the Digits nonetheless. EmoticonFather goes down to camsy. Double kill on the Rom. DummySlicc picks up Kaizo, who stepped out a bit too far. Regenceyy could be in trouble. Gonna need to eat those basics with that shield. Does guarantee your life. It's a 2-for-4. Wild Inferno are finally on the upside. Never mind, make it a 3-for-4. DummySlicc wanted to even the odds as a courtesy, but is not going to be thanked by his team.
If the Circuit had the ultimate up, I would have liked that leap a lot more. Luckily, though, they still get out ahead, and with some of the kills Kingslayers have been racking up with the lead they have, you gotta like that if you're on the side of Wild Inferno. Kingslayers finally make a little bit of a misstep as they get 4 kills down for 2, but answering 1 on the back end. Wild Inferno are barely going to be able to punish this. They have an ADC, they have Nike, could maybe look for a tower, but there are no objectives on the map. Defender of Olympus, so means Wild Inferno gonna step beneath the tier 2, but Kingslayers have respawned. Org team has to back away.
Teleport from Azteck, risky endeavor, but a good taunt allows for some good basic damage, but Blade's Retribution going to return that right back. Azteck needing to use that Fatal Strike to just escape from the damage. Rolling Thunder going to put a decent amount on him, as well as the TIE Fighter shots. Camsy goes down. Big shutdown there for MattGuy. Typhoon might be taking down Regenceyy as well. His Monarchy will end. CritOfTime going to get credit for that one. Just 2 down. They pushed their lead a bit too far. They had a bit of momentum, and unfortunately, it gone to their head.
Wild Inferno now, just when we were saying Kingslayers might have gone too far, do the exact same thing. Could be more dangerous, so tier 2 in mid is gonna fall, and they're looking at the Phoenix Anvil of Dawn. Where's Kaizo gonna land?
He's gonna be unfortunately not granted the landing onto ThockManJones thanks to a great Celestial Flight, but the kill on the Digits will succeed. You saw DummySlicc trying to be a bit slick on the back end, but with how Kingslayers have been performing, could not make anything happen. Mid-Phoenix will fall, and Kingslayers can rotate with impunity. 3 members down on Wild Inferno, all of these structures will fall like dominoes.
That's one way to put. I think probably a little bit quicker than dominoes. Gonna be like a paper mache, just falling incredibly fast. Tier 2 is gonna fall. Phoenix is though still standing. It's only a 3-on-5 now for the defense. Gotta imagine Kingslayer's gonna push in. Gonna look to do it with this wave. They're still gonna have to kill quite a few members to make it happen. Kaizo with a good wall.
But unfortunately stunned instantly by the Dow Cultivation, eating some big Phoenix shots. DummySlicc, though, in trouble, has to use the last breath before he breathes his last. Azteck finds the kill on the Circuit. Decent damage onto Kaizo. Camsy finds CritOfTime, has the snipes available, but is not going to find anything else. Kaizo's low, Camsy's lower, brought down by MattGuy, who is divine in the Godlike division. ThockMan gonna evade some strikes, but can you evade the fatal blow? A big shell gonna save him for a bit longer, but the Phoenix Flames are not enough. Azteck pokes him to death. It's only Digits remaining and defending against this onslaught of fire waves. And the Kingslayers, it seems, have somehow found a way to make this unconventional comp come to fruition. Digits has nothing to do but try to poke them in a poor imitation of Azteck. Let's get physical. Let's get physical. I want to get physical. The Kingslayers win game 1. They made a believer of me. I had doubts in that first 5 minutes, KingFsher. Talk to me about what happened here for game 1.
If you had doubts, I had them too. Especially not even being 5 physical with 3 assassins. Just going into that comp, I mean, a late game Nike, a late game Athena, that's an incredibly hard front line to crack. And they do it just fine. In one of the most exciting games we've seen in recent memory, for the season at least, Kingslayers just get it done. And it feels like we were talking about the engage dive so much, we just passed right over that Ishtar. 40,500 player damage, 9 kills, only 1 death, MattGuy with a massive game, and 7,000 structure damage, because why not?
Just tack that on for the board, a bit of extra numbers, some more accolades, some more laurels to add to the pile of medals that MattGuy's racked up there. Fantastic job on the Ishtar. And just in general, there's so many moving parts to this comp, but they ended up all just snapping together beautifully. This puzzle really came together in the end. Let's talk about it on the reverse end. What was Wild Inferno doing well, and what do they have to brush up on?
One of the things they did well, at least in the early game, they got early kills. They were making very nice rotations. Kind of hard to compare that though to the Kingslayers, who were just moving around the team almost, or moving around the map almost as a team, like 3-4 man gangs just constantly. It's really difficult to mirror that no matter what comp you're in, so maybe a little bit quicker adaptation. Would have loved to see those laning phases and just a little bit sooner if you were on the order side there, so maybe going into map 2, that's something they changed, it's something they're going to be ready for. With that being said, I'd kind of be shocked to see a similar comp run back. They had a great game, but you gotta think they've had a game to adjust. They are gonna be ready for something like that. Something more traditional might be a little bit easier for them to execute on, but given just how good that game went, I'd honestly say go do it again. Have some fun. What's the harm? You might lose game 2, but I mean, you just might take it in spades again. That was a really strong and very quick win.
And if you have fun, do you even really lose when you do lose? Of course not. This is all a game we're playing for here. No, but I don't know. I think I agree with you that we should stick to a bit more traditional at this point. The surprise might have worn off a little bit. The novelty is not there anymore. But gosh dang, if I was not surprised by how effective that ended up being. I do know I want to see on the side of Wild Inferno, though. I think I still like camsy on that ROM.
Camsy on the Rama did very, very well. Only 2 or 3 deaths there. A very small handful compared to just how often Kingslayers were kind of running down the entire team. How many times that Rama was under duress. Had a very good game. Wild Inferno, again, going to go with the Baba Yaga ban. I mean, we said it last game, we'll say it again. Better safe than sorry. Looks like a very familiar run back to banning the Ravana instead of picking it away. I mean, maybe smart. They didn't have a horrible pick one last time. I thought the Nike was actually pretty good until the very, very late game. That being said, would maybe like to see something that can help kind of stem that bleeding a little bit easier.
And also that someone that doesn't fall so easily to the Achilles, perchance, if they bring it back. But you know what they can't bring back? They recognize what you said, that Kaizo's setup was pivotal. Thor is no longer going to be part of this game, too.
Very, very smart from Wild Inferno. Unless they wanted to take it away. I mean, Thor already scary, even if it goes back to Kingslayers and doesn't go to Kaizo, goes to a jungle or a solo. Not going to have to deal with that, though. And that was an insanely strong Thor. I mean, hitting all the walls. Finding really good Anvil Dawns, maybe a few that were a little bit preemptive, a little bit trigger happy, but nothing to be concerned about. And now as the Ganesh is picked up, wondering if we're going to see Kingslayers fall a little bit back into the normal. Not going to see it yet, as that's a pick number 1 on her. Very fine ADC, a little bit surprised to see them picked up that early, though.
Not someone you see highly prioritized. Again, we're being surprised in all aspects here by the Kingslayers, and I'm not even gonna doubt them, lest they shut me up with another fantastic performance in game 2. But on the reverse end, Wild Inferno with some great peel from this Ganesh is going to be very useful. If they decide to go full aggro, that Ohm to counter engage is going to be very useful. But Kingslayer is going to pick up a little bit of a Freaky Friday of their own, grabbing the Nike.
Very good pick. Nike was pretty solid last game, even on the hands of down in XP on the losing team. Still saw time and time again that value come through. And then even more shocking, ADC pickup. It's going to be Apollo. Found a pretty nice buff a few patches ago, but never really found their way into the meta. But I mean, last game we saw camsy go that Berserker Shield, go with the Silver Branch, 2 items that synergize very, very well with attack speed, with high attack speed hunters. It's going to be something similar. The Apollo's going to work in the same way. And a tier lock-in, that's going to be going to solo over in Regenceyy. Saw counter engage with the Ganesh and a tier, nearly impossible to get through if you're trying to dive that.
It's going to be difficult, and it seems like Kingslayers, that might be their MO once again. Ooh, not quite now. We got to change up, and we have a magical god, Kingslayers. What the? I miss the old Kingslayers, bro. But talk to me, Fisher, about what this Ares provides them.
If this was more than 4 days ago, wouldn't have liked the pick. Arizo found a very, very nice buff in the last patch. Decrease the cooldown on the shackles and way increase the protections from level 1 on kind of that team buff. So from minute 1, Ares going to be doing a lot better. Has a little bit easier of an early game and going to burn the beads like crazy. The only concerning thing for me on that side is Kingslayers, with their other 2 picks being an On Her, being a Nike, don't really have a ton of CC to warrant some of those purification beads from Wild Inferno. So unless they go another big player, something, I don't know, like a Dodgy with the Palo that you kind of have to get those beads out against, might be difficult to see. But if we do see this siege tactics from Kingslayers again, they've already got aggression, and there we see it. It's going to be a Dodgy. There's the beads burn, and they have protection shred on the On Her. It's a very similar team comp. It's varied a bit, but I'm already really, really liking this Kingslayers draft.
I think we've actually seen and casted for this exact comp one time before, if you remember, KingFsher, where you did not like it back then because it was pre-patch Ares. And now we're seeing it again with a bit of a different spin. I love this concept. I love Ares in general, but I also love the fact that, like you said, there's cohesion in the beads burn ability. Kingslayers, their first 2 picks, not quite going to be the strongest in that category. But now, Wild Inferno trying to counter it with their own method of peel. That's going to be CC immune ults. Talk to me about the Tsukiyomi.
It's a pick we really haven't seen in a while. Normally a pretty aggressive pick, so probably trying to hope, or at least hope to follow up on some of that CC from the tier, maybe just count on that Ganesh to keep the team safe. And one of my favorite gods in the game, we're gonna see a Raijin. It's even more CC. It's a Mez if you want to commit fully. It's easy slows, very easy taunts, fears. Raijin, for the many downsides it kind of have as a mid laner, not the best escape in that ultimate, kind of easy to lock down if a team's coordinated, has CC in spades, but a Hebo pick, and once again, thinking that's going to be a Hebo mid, normally see that pick in jungle. Hard to imagine we're going to see a dodgy mid though, but with this Kingslayers team, I guess we really don't know.
Emoji Daddy loves this pick. I've seen in Season 2 quite a bit the Habwa go to the mid lane. As far as Wild Inferno's final pick with the Raijin, like you said, it's easy mez, easy damage, but it's also an easy target, especially with that Desert Fury. I'm going to be a bit concerned, and Habwa can certainly pour on the damage for anyone who wants to sit still against him. So hopefully going to see some proper evasion, some proper positioning here from Wild Inferno as they try to look for the tie-making game. But that being said, let's get right into said game. Game 2 coming right up in just a moment. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Smite Draft League. Week 5, Game 2 between Wild Inferno and Kingslayers off the back of a fantastic victory of an unconventional comp. Now back on the conventional side, I'm Deelo, joined here by KingFsher. And KingFsher, I want you to just talk to me. Where does your eye rove? What interests you the most on each side here?
For Kingslayers, I think the answer is pretty obvious. It's gonna be how this Ares work together. And you made a comment on a desk about me not liking a similar comp a few weeks ago. Probably true. Ares pre-patch was a little bit more difficult to kind of make work, but especially given last game, even if that hadn't changed, just seeing the aggression on Kingslayers, I mean, we only saw Kaizo have to peel, without exaggeration, maybe twice. This is a full aggression support. Normally, I'd be a little bit concerned about the backline's kind of lack of support. With the way they've been playing this game, not at all. They've got some good escapes in Hebo and on her. I really like this team comp. And for the flip side, on the defense, this team for Wild Inferno going to be much, much better. Tier CC, Ganesh silences, you're going to have CC from the Raijin as well. Much, much better equipped to deal with this aggression that you already know is going to be coming out of the Chaos team.
So, yes, we've talked about aggression from Kingslayers across Game 1 as well, but we didn't honestly quite see it. Wild Inferno had that early game a bit in their pocket. Do we expect to see the same thing here, just looking at the comps? As we, hold on, might be looking at Azteck. Could be in a bit of trouble here. Regenceyy positioning for the nice Fearless, but Azteck can opt to safely path around. Talk to me about early game dynamics here. Who do we say has the edge?
If it's before we tick to level 5, maybe Wild Inferno, but Digits dropping very, very low. Able to get out of trouble, wasn't able to dash away, but free 5, Wild Inferno have a great team comp, really good CC early on. Once you have the Ares ult, once you have the Palau, Kingslayer's just going to be able to do nearly whatever they want with those backliners, get beads down, get CC ults down. It's going to be very, very difficult to kind of slow their roll.
With that in mind, knowing that we're not going to see quite as many groupings, of course, until maybe that first beacon fight, does CritOfTime decide to amble over to that left lane where you can make that CC combination happen early?
I'd certainly like to see it, because especially Apollo maybe a little bit of a tougher time getting out of trouble, but right now it's going to be the Ganesh being looked at. Apollo Dash, not the hardest to catch out in time, so might be able to find something. But honestly, Kingslayers, I'm just looking for those 3 or 4 rotations again, especially once this Ares gets out of lane. It's going to be nearly impossible for Wild Inferno to shut it down. They're going to have to play picture-perfect Smite to stay up in this one.
You know what I will say, though? Kingslayers, they don't have as much reason, at least, for this game to maybe step on the gas pedal as hard. They don't have a clock they're working against, necessarily. They have tools, and once they start to group, like you said, the idea, the vision behind this comp can truly come to fruition. So, in that sense, they're not really pressed for time. Regenceyy might be pressed for mana, might be pressed for life, as we see some big damage come out here from Azteck and CritOfTime. Gonna pick up the first blood. Regenceyy stepped out just a bit too far out of line. Good beads to match there from the knockup attempt, but DummySlicc going back in. Not sure I agree with that. Daji just has the complete liberty to chase you down. Caltrop just gonna mark your grave. DummySlicc goes down as well.
A great pre-beads there from the Tsukiyomi, unfortunately decided to turn it around. And yeah, it's like you said, they're not working against a clock this game. They have picks that are going to work late. They're going to have a much, much easier time in the late game, kind of transitioning to that stage, maybe backing off the gas pedal a bit. The only thing they might be working against still, from behind their team comp, I don't think is nearly as strong as Wild Inferno. It's going to be like last game. They're going to have to keep a lead again, but I think going to be, or have a much easier time this time around. Wild Inferno, though, they got tools and they got great players, certainly. Gonna still be able to turn up the thunder. MattGuy just gonna stop the back from camsy there, and you gotta love seeing that Desert Fury used on the waves. One of the few ultimates that just does not make me mad when people use it to clear wave.
I'd be a bit upset right now if I was ThockManJones under so much pressure from Kaizo already rotating in. Whereas you see, still, dual lane is indeed going to be a dual lane. Camsy on this Apollo is an interesting one. We really admired the ROM pick and how he was executing on it as both these dual laners amble on over to level 5. What are our thoughts on maybe the pros and cons here of what Apollo offers you as he eats a nice impale stun? Hold on a second. MattGuy might be the one eating some big damage underneath the Ohm, underneath the Caltrops, and now having to be blocked by the Dharma Killers. Could be in some trouble here as Kaizo rotates in. Going to be some solid damage there with the Piercing Moonlight. Apollo takes to the sky. Doesn't quite find it, though, on the landing. DummySlicc going to be able to finish that kill off. No escape. Not going to, unfortunately, mean any kills quite yet. Paolo on a Digits, though. Could be a better story for you. There's a Caltrops trying to just put a bit of a slow in their step, but it seems that Digits will indeed be a lost cause. They are going to put one kill to match the one that Wild Inferno just grabbed. Now in a bit of trouble, DummySlicc underneath the chains and flames, but will survive for now. The scoreboard at 5 minutes reads 1-3. Decent lead here being afforded for Kingslayers as they just continue to grab a bit more farm on their side.
We saw last game only about a 500 gold lead. Uh-oh, is EmoticonFather in trouble? Finds
Gonna be
way
slamming
right
down the drums, and the bongos will find it. ThockManJones puts the kill on EmoticonFather. It was a good crushing wave for both damage and evasion, but unfortunately, that guy's just too good, Fisher.
Raijin is too good. I love saying Raijin's too good because, quite honestly, probably isn't, but one of the most fun mid laners to play, especially in that situation. The crushing wave from Hebo gets you a long ways away, but the drum beats carry just a little bit further. Good job from TMJ getting them down before nearly getting out of range. Was at Hebo, pretty close. Now Azteck trying to steal away a blue buff, and is gonna do so, or no, not spawned yet, but CritOfTime is close. Doesn't have the ultimate just yet.
Kaizo's rotating in as well, and once again, low mana for Regenceyy. You're gonna need that blue buff, buddy, but you might be wearing that belt to the grave. DummySlicc goes down first, barely escaping with life is Regenceyy, but the tower is no longer safe when Azteck's on the prowl. A good blink to match the evasion of the chains, but with that final slice, it's not gonna give you back enough life to survive that encounter. Azteck grabs another kill and the killing spree for the Kingslayers.
I'm really glad Kingslayers went back into that tower. They held off initially, and I was like, no way, this is where we're seeing them hold up. But they were just waiting to get some tanky bodies into the tower. They pick up that kill as well. Tier defends a blue buff, loses a life for it. Probably not a trade you love, and now the second time we've seen two members there from Wild Inferno, Regenceyy and DummySlicc, both times falling at their own blue buff. That's a pattern you gotta change, as now MattGuy looking for some engage onto camsy without a pillar, without a stun. The Apollo not gonna be in too much trouble.
But might not be able to say the same here for the on her as you see DummySlicc rotating in. Gonna put the Caltrops down on MattGuy, but with the Apollo no longer present, not quite as dangerous situation. Piercing Moonlight gonna make it a bit more fritzy, and MattGuy might be in trouble there. Brought down thanks to the rotation from DummySlicc. Tsukiyomi puts a kill in pocket. Now the scoreboard reads 3-5.
That's something we don't see a whole ton, but I always like when we do. The on her, not freaking out, not trying to use the beads, nor the Desert Fury, knew they were going to be dead either way, keeping their utility. Always like to see that from ADCs, and now Kaizo might be looking for a pull-in, has the ultimate. Thockman, about half under tower, but now Digits arrived. The Ganesh gonna make this Raijin a little bit safer. Have not seen nearly as many results as I would have expected 7.5 minutes into this game.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I was just about to ask you. So you have this comp that is a very streamlined idea. Burn beads, burn ultimates. The question is, when do we Beyblade let it rip? When do we decide to put on those ultimates? Are we just doing it off a cooldown? Oh, hold on a second. Camsy might be on a long fountain cooldown. Desert Fury going to be put in his back, but he will survive. And there's a rotation now coming in from Kaizo as well. And they have no qualms diving these towers. The blink chain not going to find the mark. Gonna unfortunately retreat back with some tower shots and some basics in his back. He might be juking a bit too much, but it was all a feint waiting for CritOfTime to rotate in. Powwow gonna be expended there. A bit of a waste, unfortunately. Camsy remains alive. ThockMan, though, can't say the same. EmoticonFather this time is able to crashing wave him out of the Taiko drums. DummySlicc trying to find the kill in the back end, but the water scroll grants him just enough speed and distance to escape the shuriken.
A great knockup from EmoticonFather. Might have saved their own life there, forcing that Tsukiyomi out of that last stun. Really, really good job by the Hebo. And over there and left, again, really would have expected to see the no escape with the parallel there. Arizo not quite able to find it. And I think one of the big reasons, obviously it's one thing to burn beads, but you gotta burn beads when teammates are close, so it's not just useless. Wild Inferno gonna know when they don't have to beads. This might be one of those times though, Kaizo gonna miss the chains, means DummySlicc gonna be able to get away for the time being. Aries still looking to engage though.
He's slashing at him, putting some marks in this Ganesh's back, gonna grab the green buff. Will he let him back for free? That would be a huge show of friendship. It seems that Kaizo, not happy about that green buff drop, is going to still pursue until he decides to back off. CritOfTime trying to get aggressive too. Kingslayers, to their credit here, 9 minutes in, still do have a lead, and a hefty one at that. Spelling about 3k to their side. Do we decide to push this? Should we go for objectives? We really haven't seen this Fury be looked at. Or do we decide to keep playing the game that we're playing at this time?
If I'm Kingslayers, you always kind of want to take advantage of stuff early, but if I'm them, as Kaizo might be looking for a no escape, still gonna hold off on the Ares ultimate. You're waiting for 12 minutes, you're waiting for the beacon spawn in the Gold Fury fight. You have a solo that has 3 kills, 2 levels ahead onto that tier. You know Azteck is gonna make that difference when we see these big team fights.
Yeah.
For Kingslayers, the first time that happens, it's gonna be a bloodbath for Wild Inferno. Might not be ready for it. Kaizo still looking for some engage. Yet to see a really big combo, but with EmoticonFather here, certainly has a damage. Blink up in 10 seconds. Would love to see some aggression there from Ares. Get the beads down before they're going to be back up for the Fury and the Beacon.
You got to be so careful with this beacon. It's one central position. Everyone knows where they want to be. And if Kingslayers know where you want to be, they're going to meet that with a fat chain and then a fat ultimate from the Ares and then a fatter ultimate from the Daji. What is the positioning strategy then of Wild Inferno? Do they just need to separate? Oh my gosh, Camsy separated from his life, courtesy of MattGuy. That Desert's Fury going to be put to good use there. That ensures, and also Madman Nucky's going to grab a nice 10k gems. KingFsher, what's the implications for the late game for that? Oh, might need to wait on that. Might need to wait. Crushing Wave being expended on the Taiko drops. EmoticonFather upset he didn't get those gems. Gonna put the damage on a ThockManJones. CritOfTime in the meantime. Gonna be chaining up DummySlicc. Has to expend the Piercing Moonlight, but is just gonna put him right back in the midst of the Lion's Maw. MattGuy on the left side grabs DummySlicc as well. 2 members of Wild Inferno down now. And Beacon about to be up in just 1 minute. Once again, Regenceyy does not want this blue buff to go anywhere but in his pocket, and the ultimate will guarantee that fact.
It's so funny just watching the tier and the Nike brawl it out over every blue buff. I think Azteck's only been successful 1 time. Even so, that's not going to slow the Nike down.
Yeah.
Now 40 seconds out from that beacon spawn, it's still a 2-level lead, up to 13 now. So gonna have another ability, presumably gonna be that blink. So a lot of aggression, and you asked me kind of before that fight broke out what has to be the answer from Wild Inferno to slow Kingslayers down. It only happened once last game. We need to see it more this game if Wild Inferno is going to catch back up. Wait for them to overstep. Wait for them to use those ultimates. Punish them on the back end. You have a tier that can get people out of position. Ganesh that can shut stuff down. You have the tools, you just need the right time to use it. Right time might be soon though. Both teams going to start to group up here in the middle of the map.
And the beacon's going to open up now. It's so far 2v2, but you can see members of Kingslayers, a flood of red, joining the rest of them. Wild Inferno seeming to not have the gumption to step up to this one quite yet. ThockMan going to try to do just a little bit of damage with the Percussive Storm, but to no avail. Kingslayers grab the beacon. Do we agree with them deciding to just let that one go, KingFsher?
I definitely don't hate the call, especially given how Kingslayers played it last game. They would get that beacon and they would run straight to the Gold Fury, straight to the Pyro. Wild Inferno knows if they step up to that, gonna have to use utility, whether it's relics, whether it's ultimates. So keeping those up for the objective fight, it's probably smart. Camsy though might have to use them here. Looked at by the Honor and the Dodgy. Nothing gonna come out of that though, and now Kingslayers again on the left-hand side might be looking for a fight. Is Wild Inferno gonna give it to him?
DummySlicc in a bit of a compromising position, chained up, and the Taiko drums are only going to be a funeral march beat for your mid laner or your jungle friend. Gonna take to the Palau now. Digit's in a bit of trouble here. Gonna expend the own pillars he's got at his own feet as he's brought back in, but EmoticonFather is gonna clean that up. with a nice Hydro Cannon. 2 members of Wild Inferno down. And now they're going to do exactly what you said. It was just delaying the inevitable there, Fisher. And now the Fury will be picked up here for the Kingslayers.
Kingslayers play that very well. Wild Inferno not even going to have a chance to show up and try to defend it. 13.5-minute Gold Fury on a really good pace so far. It was maybe a tad sooner last game, but now Regenceyy, he gets revenge. He gets a speed buff. You love to see that. Who cares about blue when you can move faster? ThockManJones can't move fast enough trying to escape the dive.
Oh no, the bees were expended a bit early there, my friend, and you're gonna pay for it in the form of your life if Kaizo can just land a few more of these basics, or if EmoticonFather gets a big geyser. But now entering the fight, Emoticon, very low on mana, has to expend the last bit for the scroll. Regenceyy doesn't need that ultimate, he just needs speed buffs, and he's gonna be able to take down EmoticonFather on the back end.
Wild Inferno gonna be glad to get that one in their pocket. Hebo had 5 kills, so gonna give a nice bounty over to them. Help to make up a little bit of this golden XP, which is getting monumental. Now for the first time, Apollo out of lane, looking for Ares, dives in deep.
And the pillars are already back up. Kaizo's got to just stick it out, and he cannot do that for long. Regenceyy finds the kill on the Ares. Camsy caught out on the back end. You didn't have to stay in the pillars, buddy. You could have left. Regenceyy going to continue the fight on a CritOfTime. Digit's leading the charge. Going to silence him for a little bit. But do you have the damage to silence him permanently is the question. DummySlicc going to oblige. There goes the dodgy. But now the members of Wild Inferno a bit worse for wear. Azteck going to jump in for the low health Digits. Nice Ohm silence to guarantee you a bit of time. Regenceyy going to be the escort necessary to get yourself back home safely. Seemed to be a nice engagement there. It's a 1 for 2 overall, and Wild Inferno get the better of it. But now, Kingslayers looking at this Pyromancer, and now moving back in. Wild Inferno going to try to deny them it, but not quite the case. 2 big ultimates expended. Regenceyy going to use, I think, his first ultimate on an actual person and not a buff. But unfortunately, it seemed like your buffs were the easier targets.
Lawbringer, unluckily for Wild Inferno, not going to find too much use. And even though they lose a Pyromancer, I really like seeing that fight from Wild Inferno. It's what we wanted to see, them maybe not taking the straight up fight, looking for those opportunities, looking for the places where they can start to claw this game back, and they find it. Find a few members of Kingslayers, get the Ares, get the dodgy, under tower as well without losing anybody to it. Those towers, they do a lot of damage early in this game. We saw it when Kingslayers tried to dive multiple times and nearly died. But not gonna land the shots. Wild Inferno still down in this game, 6-13, and still not in the best spot in the world. But you know, it's probably gonna get worse before it gets better. Kingslayer is gonna be able to do a lot with this. Now Fire Giant, the only thing standing on the map. Luckily for Wild Inferno, probably won't have to worry about that until, at the very least, the 20-minute mark.
And right now, 16 minutes in here, 6K gold lead here for the Kingslayers. Might be extended. ThockMan's been under just unabated amounts of pressure here. Gonna be the no escape, meeting the pillars. Solid damage, but he's gonna have Thunder Crash there to make sure he can get a quick escape. I know you said it gets worse before it gets better, but I said that game 1, Fisher. I don't want to be a liar to these people of Wild Inferno once again. They need to find a better out than just waiting out the clock. Kingslayers stand everything to gain from that. Their team comp is far more efficient in the grouping stages. I just don't know who they need to target first. Seems that the target might be Camsy, and ThockMan. Thunder Crash once again going to guarantee a bit of space and safety, but the tier 1 tower will inevitably fall. Azteck just going to chip away at that. Lawbringer's been expended, but the chain's going to meet him where he lands. Brought back up with the geyser. Solid damage onto these members of Kingslayers as they retreat back. ThockMan can't be a participant in this fight any longer, lest he want to risk his own life. EmoticonFather going to find DummySlicc. Stuck around a bit too long there, friend. What are you guys doing up in our jungle? Regenceyy goes down as well, granting a killing spree here for the Honor. Chained up, brought back in. Digit's gonna be in trouble. It's an avalanche of members leaping, dog piling, lion piling on the elephant. MattGuy grabs the double. Camsy gonna opt to just take out his frustrations on these bastions. Take that, he says, for my fallen comrades.
Gotta love taking out the Bastions, lowering that defense on the tower. Might be able to get tier 1, but they're gonna lose a Phoenix for it. It's a 5-on-1.
They're gonna lose ThockMan as well. What are you doing over there, Apollo? Get back to the fight at hand. Mid-Phoenix going to fall. Great kill there by MattGuy. Once again, just doing his job as the carry. Tier 1 tower finally gonna fall on the right side. Camsy can feel good about that. Hop a little bit to the next one, but have to wonder if that was the best way to spend your time as the Apollo. Should he have been on the front lines there with his mid?
To be honest, even if Apollo's there, I don't really think they defend that too well. Had the relics, but Apollo doesn't really do anything special on the defense, besides maybe just getting some defense. It's not like the Raijin that can kind of help to stall out a push. You have maybe a Mesmerize, but you don't want to be using that offensively against 5. Now Oni Fury going to be the target here. For Wild Inferno, or sorry, for Kingslayers, Wild Inferno are still close. Lawbringer up for the tier. This could be the first big ultimate here for Regenceyy.
But it's not a buff, so instead gonna opt to just go for MattGuy with the Fearless, but now maybe regretting that decision. That's a buff there, but you missed the shield buff there, my friend. A bit off the mark. The chains are as well. Gonna have to expend the beads to ensure his safety, but Regencey's gotten some ults off the line, but now he might not be able to participate in the greater fight at hand. EmoticonFather needs some decent pressure. DummySlicc can say the same after the crashing wave crushes down on top of him. No escape indeed. CritOfTime gonna take down DummySlicc off the back end of the air result. Kaizo's putting on kills onto camsy. Tycho Drum's gonna put a taunt into Kaizo, but he wants to be on the front lines. You're bringing him in closer, just where he wants to be. ThockMan needs to turn tail and run. Thunder Crash won't save you at this point. Digits goes down. ThockMan follows. It's an absolute massacre. Kingslayers grab 4 for 1.
And as much as I'd love to see a 19-minute Titan call, I don't know if it can happen. Health bars might not favor them. Kaizo very low. Azteck still in full HP, but with members spawning in 10 seconds for Wild Inferno, Kingslayers just gonna elect to walk away. And why not? They can still go get the Oni Fury. They can get a Pyro. They can pretty much do whatever they need to on the map. Wild Inferno can have a really rough time stepping out of base. Regenceyy might follow them all the way to the Fury, but we said it last game, I'll say it again this game. Kingslayers are playing this game nearly perfectly, to a T. Tiers here for the Oni Fury, but it's a 1-on-4 and might not be able to do much.
And he doesn't have a buff. You need that ultimate to land on the proper target, and now he's being targeted by the powwow. No beads to use, just accepts his fate. He's gonna go down swinging though, might be able to kill Kaizo. Not gonna be obliged. MattGuy is unstoppable. Fury goes down there for Kingslayers, and camsy must retreat. Your split push tactics won't work this time.
Just like last game, I don't think we're gonna see Kingslayers really get behind at all. Unorthodox team comps, but pretty orthodox playstyle, just swarming to the point of attack. And Wild Inferno, kind of like last game, I think we saw, especially in the middle game, Kingslayers would start with 1 kill out of position, it'd become 2, it'd become 3. We're not seeing Wild Inferno die at the same times, like the last fight. Very early powwow into a later no escape from the Ares. Kingslayers are doing a great job staggering these fights, really separating Wild Inferno. Just like that on the Oni Fury. A tier dies by themselves, now rejoining the fights. But Kingslayers have had a moment to kind of regroup. They might be looking for something like a Fire Giant, even this early into a game, another minute and a half before that beacon spawns.
About 21 minutes into this game, now extended to a 12,000 gold lead here for the Kingslayers. And the kills disparity, 15 on the board as well. It's just looking rough all around. What aspect of Wild Inferno's gameplay just needs to be tightened up? Is it communication? Is it targeting? What is just not stacking up against the Kingslayers comp?
For me, it's definitely going to be positioning. Outside of that, kill in the mid lane where we saw Apollo ult in. I don't think they started one of these fights, and we're not going to start this one either. At the Phoenix, DummySlicc nearly dies right away. Gets out in trouble, though.
Oh no, you're a body blocked a bit there, courtesy of your teammates. The Desert's Fury picks him up, courtesy of MattGuy. Phoenix rises only to fall shortly after. A bit of a short-lived presence there, my friend, but we appreciate it nonetheless. And Kingslayers with a 4-minute advantage might go back in. Big no escape, but where's the follow-up after it? Regenceyy decides to use the ultimate for safety here. The backline's still in the backline where they want to be, but ThockMan could be in some trouble. Crit says, this is my time to enter the backline now. Azteck gonna finish off the kill on a ThockMan, and Regenceyy is down as well. Kingslayers are now at liberty to walk into the throne room. Might be bringing it down. You do have camsy, but in the terms of the Kingslayers with this comp, with whips, sticks and stones may break my bones, but chains and whips excite them. Game 2 and the set go to the Kingslayers. Did they think this was the game they were working against a clock? It's crazy. Like, I feel like they played this comp so much like they should have played the earlier comp in the early stages of the game. I don't know. Game 2, Kingslayers took it. KingFsher, talk to me about what happened.
Forget about an exciting game. It's a quick game. I mean, Wild Inferno did not have a chance to get their feet under them from
Oh
minute
man.
one. We saw Wild Inferno, or rather Kingslayers, with that like 2 minute blue buff invade, kill two people, and it's just all downhill from there. Not able to recover, and gotta give it to Kingslayers. Comps like this are notoriously hard to execute on, especially like we've been talking about the Godlike division, the skill we see in it, just how much the players know about this game, know what it takes, and to come in and beat a team that quickly, never really be behind for, I'd say, more than 5 seconds, and maybe those 5 seconds come off the back of a fight they just turn around and take anyway. It is a textbook from Kingslayers, and especially something we didn't even know on the first desk. One of really the newer teams, been a little up and down this season with some roster changes. You would not know it looking at that game. They played it almost flawlessly.
It's incredible to see when you do have those issues sometimes with synergy when it comes to those roster switch ups, especially if they had a sub too, that they're gonna say, no, we're just gonna run it how we so please. It's not comfort, or maybe it is. Maybe this is just how they're the most comfortable playing with these weird off the cuff comps on the fly. But it keeps your opponent on the back end, and clearly they've shown that they can muster their gumption necessary to just make it work beautifully. But it's so opposed to what you would expect. You normally would just see the traditional play it straight, play it cool, but no, they're just going to go with what they so please, and they come up with a 2-0 dub.
They do, and it's scary for teams going forward because the name of the game, especially if they keep playing comps like this, we saw kind of a different one in game two, but stylistically very similar. Big question is for teams moving forward, how do you get them behind? How do you stop the flow? For me, you got to look at the ADC. MattGuy is that guy, had two incredible games, top damage in both of them, and died, what, twice, 3 times throughout the entire
Yeah.
nearly hour-long set. All the
Yeah.
members of Kingslayers looking insanely polished. I don't know what you have to do to slow down this team, but you better figure it out fast.
And off the backs of that, we indeed, if you're wondering just what was going on in the minds of those wily players as they stepped into the throne room, you don't need to wonder any longer. We got an interview, ace interviewer, Sun was on the scene here, going to be speaking to some of the members there of the winning team. Let's take a look at the board of what they had for us.
Hello, SDL fans. My name is Sun, and I am joined here by EmoticonFather, the mid laner for Kingslayers, and also joined by KaizoCaster, the support for Kingslayers. Gentlemen, how are we feeling after this 2-0 set?
Woo! Let's go, Kingslayers! Woo!
Kaizo seems pretty enthused.
That seems pretty good.
So, this first question's for you, Mr. EmoticonFather. The team's been kind of struggling a bit to get this off the ground. You guys still don't exactly have a full squad. You do have, a sub in the solo lane. Azteck was subbing for this set, and so, despite the fact that you guys don't entirely have a full squad right now, how do you feel overall for the 4-man core of the team right now?
I think we're feeling pretty good. I mean, once we get our solo lane situation figured out, I think we're a pretty good team. I mean, we did get the win today, although I will say I don't know if, like, we'll get a better solo laner than who we had sub today. But even then, we can win with just our 4 players. I think we got this.
All right, so pretty confident. So love to hear it. And Kaizo, this one's for you. MattGuy looked incredibly strong today over there in the long lane with you. 9-1 in game 1, 9-2 in game 2. Top player damage both games. So how does it feel being a support with a kind of a little bit aggressive style hunter that can definitely carry his own in these late game team fights?
Doesn't really feel like a me question. It feels like more of a MattGuy question, and I'm just the one here. But you know, it's nice for sure. I mean, you don't really have a dual lane without both people, right? Like you need somebody there to pick up the slack, one might say, if hypothetically someone were to make a mistake in dual lane, like perhaps play a bit too far forward or too aggressively. It helps to have somebody there to balance it out, and I'd like to think that I was able to do that for MattGuy here.
See, exactly. It's a two-lane thing, so it might be a MattGuy question, but you're the one being asked it. And Emoji, another question for you now. So you decided to play Set in game number 1, a pick that not a lot of teams are looking at right now for being scared of accidentally misclicking and forfeiting the set. So is this a pick we're probably going to see later on in the future? Because obviously this is one of your favorite gods, and you're not scared to play it. So is this something that teams are still going to have to be looking to ban out away from you guys?
Oh yeah, I love playing Set, and to be honest, I was probably a little scared in that game. I was like second guessing myself. I'd go in. I was like, did I dash twice? But I'm pretty sure I didn't. So I don't know. I mean, Set was getting banned for me a lot at the beginning of the season, so it'll probably get banned again. I just noticed he put on 2 hats, so you're looking good there.
Thanks, buddy.
Kaizo?
It's 1 for each dash that you did every time you went in.
Oh, okay. All right, Kaizo. So in game 1, you piloted the Thor support. Obviously, the Thor was probably a bit of a flex pick, and just kind of ended up being yours.
No,
or
actually.
you wanted it right away.
Yeah, we loaded into picks and bans. We were discussing the Athena, which is of course the only character I'm actually competent at playing. Digits on the other team, also an Athena player, so I thought very reasonable kind of reflex to that is just playing something completely different. I knew that they had never seen me play Thor before. Our jungler really wanted the Thor, which is where it's actually a better pick, but I just figured that my ego's too big for me to possibly play anything else, so I made sure that I played something that just made them feel bad when they lost the game, and they banned it in game 2, so it worked.
And in that game as well, you guys ran a 5 physical comp. Was that also the game plan going into the game, getting weird and wacky alongside this Thor support, or?
No, we got to about pick number 4 and then realized that I'm gonna actually change out hats for this one. We got to about pick number 4 and then we realized that, hang on a second, guys, we've picked 4 physical characters and we still have 1 more to go. But at that point, you can't really back down. It's about showing dominance. You know, you got to make sure that the other team fears you, and I think that we did a good job of striking fear into the hearts of the enemy this time.
Again, kind of going back to what Emoji was saying with the confidence level, you guys are definitely feeling pretty confident after this set. So, and
at least in this game, when we had 5 players that I could trust, whatever happens from here forward, you know, all bets are off. But for this one particular game, I can say I was very proud to be. We're Godlike Kingslayers. That's what we are. I was very proud of that.
All right, and I got another question for you. I know that the fans at home are curious, for you in particular. Are we going to see more than 4 wards this next set?
That's a good thing to bring up, actually. I want to clear my name on that. So when you place down Bracer, it actually counts on the post-game scorecard as placing a ward. I would never stoop so low as to place a ward in this league. I want to make that very clear here. That's not my MO. That's not what I'm going to be about. So if you see a Bracer, I want you to go back. I want you to watch the game, watch my consumable slots. I promise I didn't buy a ward. I would never buy a ward. If you think that I might have bought a ward, you're only fooling yourself because I absolutely am not that kind of player.
Okay, Emoji, I had a follow-up question for you, but I don't think I need to ask it anymore. It was, do you think your support will be picking more than 4 wards in the next set? But I think he just kind of answered that question for you a little bit.
Well, personally, I wouldn't want him to buy any wards. I think every ward that he buys is like -5 IQ points.
I don't
so
have
we
very
need that
many of those
number up
to
as
go
high as
around.
possible.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. So, all right, so now kind of a question for both of you. We'll go to Emoji first. Nerf one god, buff one god. What 2 gods you picking?
Buff Regen. He's already OP, but I need him to be more OP.
Okay.
Then a nerf. Honestly, nerf Kali. I can't function as a player versus that god. So, we banned her first both games. That was my suggestion.
Yeah.
Just get Kali out of there.
Fair enough. And Kaizo, same question to you. Buff one, nerf one. Who you got?
I mean, the nerf is easy. I'm very sick and tired of seeing Ganesh. I see that character in my dreams. I see him in my nightmares. I'm losing my hat just thinking about that character. I think that god just needs to be removed from the game entirely. Smite would be a better place if the entire Hindu pantheon was just removed just so we can make sure Ganesh is gone. I think that would be a positive change. Buffing one character is a little bit more difficult to say. I think that another Aphrodite buff could be pretty cool because she's kind of hot and I'd like to see more of her in the game. And she's got that T5 skin that I think that we could spend more money on as a community, so I'd go probably Aphrodite on the buff.
Fair enough. And would that buff as well come with another skin to the game, or?
Ideally, yeah, and you could even like just recolor the T5 so that people would buy it again at the same price and you wouldn't even have to put any additional work into it. I think that that's probably like just a good macro decision for high res, you know?
something you should bring up next time you're in a meeting with them. So
This guy's a businessman.
is there anything else you guys want to say to the SDL fans at home?
Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for being a Kingslayers fan.
Yeah, we're not last anymore, so that's pretty cool.
Fair enough.
Now
you
we're
guys.
like middle of the pack.
Yeah, right where we want them.
And on that note, thank you guys for taking the time for the interview, and best of luck in your future sets.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You heard it there first. Some interesting words there from Ace Reporter's son alongside the winning members of Kingslayers there. You had Kaizo, it's the support, as well as Emoji Daddy there mid. Interesting words. You know, I think it can all really be summed up by one thing that they said, which is from this point on, all bets are off. That being said, that is all we have for you here today. Thank you very much for watching Smite Draft League. This has been the Godlike Division Week 5, Kingslayers versus Wild Inferno. And we appreciate your time. I've been Deelo. He's been KingFsher. We had iNooblet there, up as the cameraman and on the production scene. Appreciate that, buddy. Thanks for all your hard work. And with that said, you all have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching.